a lone Russian soldier on the slope of a slag heap near Avdiivka. He, as well as hundreds of other Russian soldiers, was eliminated by the very same 110th Brigade that is defending this heap and other positions in the north of Avdiivka. This is where they are barreling towards, and it is this Terrican that the Russian command and war correspondents have captured several times in their reports. Him being on the slope of the hill indicates that the occupiers have indeed come very close to Ukrainian positions. However, him lying low and not moving suggests that they haven't advanced further. Why he personally needed this heap of waste rock, on the slope of which he ended his existence, is incomprehensible. Just as it is incomprehensible what makes the occupiers fulfill other insane orders of Putin. But this is a question that does not concern the AFU soldiers in any way. They just do their job, day in and day out, to repel the invasion of savage barbarians from the east, and so far they are doing it well, unlike the Russian side. After all, when the occupants do not succeed in something, they start making up news about how they capture settlements. Bakhmut alone was captured 20 times, until they really occupied it, and not all of it. It would be good for them to consolidate themselves in those areas where they have actually advanced, but there are problems with that too. Ukrainian soldiers do not allow this to be realized in full. It seems to me that these actions with the attempt to encircle Avdiivka will not bring them the desired result. But this is my subjective opinion as of today. In any case, there are real experienced titans on that section on the Ukrainian side, who have been defending Avdiivka for many months. The speaker of the Tavria group of troops reported that the amount of equipment that the enemy throws to storm Avdiivka has significantly decreased. The infantry losses of the invaders are very high, many of them do not survive because of the extremely poor medical evacuation system. Because of the high losses, many occupants began to refuse to go into battle. According to analysts at the Institute for the Study of War, the attacks of the occupiers in the Avdiivka direction have failed and may turn into blows against the wall. The AFU mine the neighborhood of Avdiivka, and therefore it is more difficult for the Russian army to pass. Also, the occupiers have problems with the accuracy of artillery due to worn barrels. And while the occupiers under Avdiivka experienced flashbacks of Vugleda and Bilogorivka, the Ukrainians have successes on the southern flank of Bakhmut, and this is already critical enough for the enemy. After all, the potential coverage of Bakhmut from the south by the Ukrainian side is definitely not part of their plans. At the same time, the occupiers continue massive counterattacks, in which they burn their reserves very well. The initiative is on the defense forces. It is very important to hold it. For these 10 days all attention was turned to another war. We have all been amazed at what is happening in Israel, but let's compare it in the context of the war in Ukraine, where the difference is enormous, but does not diminish the tragedy of Israel. 10 days versus 600 days of a full-scale invasion. The human cost is hundreds of times greater. The fate of Europe is being decided in the space of hundreds of kilometers, with tens of thousands of dead and thousands of destroyed armored vehicles. This is the price Ukrainians are paying with their blood. And it is important to politely remind everyone, do not remain idle and do not be silent.